I finally told him that I think it was about me being gay, and he was really kind about it. Sara Gilbert dated Johnny Galecki for years while they worked on Roseanne, but something felt off. Every time they kissed, she felt sad and couldn't figure out why. Then she fell in love with somebody else. A woman who was 18 years older and famous too. But she kept it secret for almost 10 years, scared that Hollywood would ruin her career. When she finally came out in 2010, the secret had already cost her something she could never get back. And the person she was really trying to protect wasn't who you'd guess. Sara Gilbert was born on January 29, 1975 at St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica, California. Her birth name was Sarah Rebecca Abels. Her mom, Barbara Cowan, had been a kid actress back in the 1950s, and her grandpa, Harry Crane, created the super-famous old comedy show The Honeymooners from 1951. Sarah was born right into the showbiz world, but it wasn't easy. Her mom had been married before to Paul Gilbert, a guy who did vaudeville and flew planes in World War II. He adopted Barbara's two older kids, Melissa and Jonathan. That marriage broke up in 1972. Paul Gilbert killed himself on February 13, 1976, but the family hid the truth for years and told everyone he died from a stroke. Sarah was only a little over 1 year old then. By the time she was 6, Sarah was already watching how much attention her big half-sister Melissa got because Melissa was a star on Little House on the Prairie. While Melissa was out there getting famous and even got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame when she was 21, Sarah just watched from the side. She once said she only wanted to act because she was jealous of all the love Melissa got on set. In 1984, when she was 9, Sarah officially changed her last name to Gilbert so she could feel part of the same famous family. Her brother and sister, Melissa and Jonathan, weren't actually blood related to each other or to Sarah, but they were all one big messy famous family. Sarah's very first time on camera was around age 6 in a Kool-Aid commercial. Her real acting start came 3 years later in a 1984 TV movie on CBS called Calamity Jane, where she played a kid named Jean. She still went to normal school, not like a lot of child stars, because her mom made sure life stayed regular. Her mom Barbara had been in the business herself and even had her own production company, but she put Sarah in public school and kept her away from all the usual Hollywood traps. That smart parenting made a huge difference. In 1988, everything changed for Sarah. She tried out for Roseanne and got the part of Darlene Connor, the funny, sarcastic tomboy middle kid who fans loved right away. She had just missed out on a reboot of The Facts of Life, but Roseanne felt perfect. She said teasing her sister Melissa when they were little gave her all the comedy skills she needed for Darlene. And it totally worked. She was so real in the role that she got 2 Emmy nominations while the show was on the first time. Even after she was a big TV star, Sarah never quit school. She started at Yale University in 1993 and kept filming Roseanne at the same time. From 1993 to 1997, the whole show worked around her college schedule. They even shot her parts in New York while she went to classes in Connecticut. She graduated in 1997 with an art degree focused on photography, the same year the original Roseanne ended. Sarah never really knew Paul Gilbert, but his death still hung over her life quietly. Her sister Melissa didn't find out the real truth about his suicide until 2009. He had been in pain for years from war injuries and took his own life at 57. The real story stayed hidden for decades. Barbara, their mom, used a bunch of different last names like Barbara Crane, Barbara Abels, Barbara Cowan to keep family stuff separate from work stuff. She always wanted to protect Sarah, and it showed. Melissa's childhood was full of crazy media pressure, but Sarah's was calmer, safer, and more normal. By the time Sarah did the ABC weekend special Runaway Ralph in 1988, the same year she got Roseanne, she was already acting like a pro. She starred with Fred Savage in a show based on the Beverly Cleary book, and it got her ready for the big time. Then Roseanne exploded. Playing Darlene from 1988 to 1997 totally changed what people thought a teen on TV could be. The show went deep with real stuff. In Season 4, in an episode called Darlene Fades to Black from 1991, her character dealt with depression. Sarah handled school, lines, and all the pressure while still growing up. Her on-screen romance with Johnny Galecki's character David started in Season 4. It added a lot of feeling, especially when John Goodman's Dan caught them kissing. Those scenes felt super real. Fans still remember how tense it was when Dan walked in on Darlene and David. It wasn't just acting, it was like stuff happening in real American families. By season 6 in 1993-1994, Sara wasn't only acting, she was helping decide what happened to Darlene. She started pushing for more girl power stories and real-life topics. That grew until she had real control. When the Roseanne reboot came in 2018, she was a star and the boss producer, making $300,000 an episode. Even back in the old days, she helped write stuff. In a 1989 episode, Darlene read a poem that showed how sad she felt under all the jokes. The poem had lines like, "Too short to be quarterback, too plain to be queen." It hit people hard. By 1992, she even got an official writing credit for an episode called Don't Make Me Over. Between TV seasons, she did strong movie roles too. In 1990, she was in Sooty and Simpson with Louis Gossett Jr. playing a girl in the old segregated South who makes friends with a black man hiding in the woods. The movie talk eat about racism and abuse and won her a Young Artist Award. Then in 1992, she did Poison Ivy with Drew Barrymore. It bombed in theaters but became a cult classic on cable. Sara played Sylvie Cooper, a shy girl who gets tricked by Drew's wild character. She got an Independent Spirit Award nomination for that. But things weren't always great. The 1997 Roseanne finale upset a lot of fans. It said most of season 9 was made up. Dan died, couples changed, the lottery win was fake. It felt like the show lied to everyone. Even Sara said later they should have stopped after season 8. When the reboot came in 2018, they fixed it. Dan was alive again, timeline reset, and Sara finally got to steer the story from behind the camera. When Sara joined ER in late 2004, she played Dr. Jane Figler, a quiet med student in the crazy hospital. Everyone already knew her as Darlene, but the writers never gave her much to do. Her character just popped in and out for 3 years with no big story until one weird BDSM thing with Dr. Crenshaw that got attention only because the rest was boring. Even that went nowhere. Sara would vanish for episodes, then show up again with no reason. From 2004 to 2007, she was in 15 episodes but never really stood out. It felt like Darlene got dropped into Scrubs and forgotten. Then came The Big Bang Theory. In October 2007, she appeared as Dr. Leslie Winkle, a tough, no-nonsense scientist who became Leonard's girlfriend for a bit. Her dry humor was perfect and fans loved it. She was in early episodes like the Fuzzy Boots Corollary and came back for fun ones like the Hamburger Postulate and the Codpiece Topology. For a second, it looked like they had plans for her. She got bumped to main cast in season 2, but it didn't stick. By 2009, she was back to guest star. The writers couldn't figure out where she fit. She wasn't Penny, she wasn't Amy, her blunt style didn't always work. In a 2025 interview, Sara said the writers just hit a wall with Leslie. Her last big scene was May 2010 when Leslie turned down Leonard's half-joking proposal. She came back one more time in 2016 for Sheldon's birthday in the 200th episode, but that was pretty much it. Around that time, away from sitcoms, Sara was cooking up something new. In December 2009, right when the soap As the World Turns was ending after 54 years, she pitched CBS a brand new talk show. The idea was moms talking honestly about life, kids, and news. She laughed later on Ellen that she was the worst person for it, super shy, hates small talk, but CBS loved it. They picked her idea over a cooking show with Emeril and even a pyramid reboot with Andy Richter. They officially said yes in July 2010. That fall, on October 18th, the talks started. Sara wasn't just a host, she created it and ran it as executive producer. The first group was Sharon Osbourne, Julie Chen, Holly Robinson Peete, Leah Remini, and Marissa Jarrett Winokur. From day one, it felt different. The talks were honest, personal, sometimes awkward. Unlike other daytime shows that stayed safe, the talk let people argue and get real. Viewers loved that it felt like actual life. By season 2, the numbers proved it. In January 2012, 1 week had 2.45 million people watching. During February sweeps, it grew 4% overall, 10% with women 25-54, and 13% with women 18 to 49. CBS renewed it again in March. In 2016, The Talk beat The View, Wendy Williams, and even Ellen to win a Daytime Emmy. People said it was because of Sara's brave vision. That same bravery came out in one of the show's most emotional moments. In September 2013, during Secret Week, Sara told everyone live on air that while she was on Roseanne dating Johnny Galecki, she started realizing she was gay. It confused her so much back then. Kissing him made her feel sad and she didn't know why. When she finally told Johnny, he was amazing. He supported her and kept her secret. Years later, when she was about to talk about it on The Talk, she called him Fee. Rest on, he said he'd be there and even hold her hand if she wanted. That moment showed why the show worked. It made space for hard truths. By 2019, Sara had been on the show almost 10 years. On April 9th, she told everyone she was leaving. She loved it, but her life was out of whack. With the Connors, producing, and 3 kids, she had to choose. Her youngest was only 4, and she still hadn't finished his baby book. That's when she knew it was time. She stayed till August and filmed her last episode on the 2nd. She said she'd come back as a guest sometimes, but her daily job there was done. Sara never thought a silly sketch would start all this. It was her and John Goodman on her talk show just joking around as their old characters. But the magic was still there. She couldn't stop thinking about bringing Roseanne back for real, not just old memories, but something honest. So she pitched it. She wanted it raw, about real family struggles today. Stuff like opioid addiction, broken dreams, grown kids moving back home. No sugarcoating. Darlene was now a single mom of 2 who never made it as a writer and had to move back to her old house. Sara fought to keep it real, to show what happens when life doesn't go the way you planned. ABC loved it so much they ordered 13 episodes before even seeing one. Filming was set to start again August 2018. The show was really happening. When the first new episode aired March 27, 2018, it was huge. 18.2 million people watched. The next one right after got 18.6 million. It was the biggest premiere of the whole season, beating Young Sheldon. The numbers were crazy, so ABC renewed it just 3 days later. But behind the scenes, things were already falling apart. Roseanne Barr was unpredictable. Crew guys would text each other in shock when she yelled at people. She didn't care who heard. The producers couldn't agree on anything either. Barr wanted one thing, Whitney Cummings another, Wanda Sykes had her own ideas. Everything was a fight. Young crew people were scared all the time. It felt like walking in a minefield hoping Roseanne would... It was working, but just barely. Sara smiled through it all on her talk show. She even cried talking about how many people watched. She thanked Roseanne in front of millions and said she was proud. But privately, she was the one holding everything together with her own hands. She tried to keep everyone positive, stop the young crew from quitting, stop Roseanne from ruining it, but it got harder every week. Roseanne kept tweeting stuff she had to delete. Everyone panicked every time she touched her phone. Sara felt trapped. She was the star, the producer, the one who begged to bring it back, and now the one trying to save it. Even though ABC wanted more seasons, she had a bad feeling time was running out. At 2:45 a.m. on May 29, 2018, it all crashed. Roseanne tweeted something awful that ended everything. She wrote, Muslim Brotherhood Planet of the Apes had a baby, VJ, about Valerie Jarrett, a black woman who worked for President Obama. The internet lost it. A few hours later, ABC canceled the show. The ABC president called the tweet disgusting and pulled it immediately. Disney's boss said there was no other choice. Wanda Sykes quit that day. Sara didn't even get a warning. She found out on crazy emergency calls. Overnight, 200 people lost their jobs. One tweet killed the biggest comeback ABC ever had. Sara didn't freak out. She jumped in trying to save whatever she could. But the show was dead. The worst part came after. That same day, Sara tweeted that Roseanne's words were disgusting and didn't speak for the rest of them. She said she was disappointed, and she really was. A few days later on The Talk, she said she backed ABC and felt heartbroken for the crew. but Roseanne never forgave her. The next year, Barr said Sara ruined her life and she'll never get enough until she consumes my liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. It was pure hate. In 2023, Barr say, "I did again," that Sara stabbed her in the back and pretended to be shocked by racism on her talk show. Meanwhile, ABC started The Conners that same year without Roseanne. Sara stayed on as the main producer and star. Roseanne got nothing. The Conners premiered October 16, 2018, but it felt like something big was missing: Roseanne. Just months after the revival got killed because of Roseanne Barr's racist tweet, Sara had to carry the whole show on her shoulders without its biggest name. In the first episode, over 10.5 million watched the family find out Roseanne died from an opioid overdose, not a heart attack. Pain pills were hidden everywhere. She had been getting them from different places because knee surgery cost too much. Sara and writers Bruce Helford and Dave Kaplan made Darlene a single mom who had to move home. Roseanne hated how dark it was, but ABC stuck with it and let the Conners live on. Sara didn't just act, she ran everything from 2018 to 2025. For all 111 episodes and 7 seasons, she was star and boss producer. In October 2020, Season 3 started, and it felt super real because COVID was everywhere. The family wore masks, Darlene worked in a factory, Mark checked temperatures at the door. It wasn't guessing. The writers, including Sara, used their own pandemic lives. Filming was weird. No audience, tests all the time, masks until the camera rolled. Sara said it felt scary to take the mask off and act, but they did it and told real stories about losing jobs, eviction, loneliness. She said it gave her purpose when everything felt unsure, but not everything was smooth. Late 2020 ratings started dropping hard. People were tired of serious stuff and politics. A live episode tied to the New Hampshire primary in February 2020 got 6.34 million for a night, but it didn't last. Viewers wanted laughs, not heavy topics, so Sara and the team switched mid-season, MO, re-jokes, awkward dates, family fights instead of big issues. It worked. The Conners stayed ABC's top comedy and was almost tied with Modern Family for young viewers, only 275,000 behind. All that, she made good money, $375,000 to $400,000 an episode in the last season, one of the highest paid with John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf. But it wasn't easy. Carrying the Connor family without Roseanne was exhausting. Sara said the characters got deep in their souls after so many years. Doing weekly filming, all the producing stress, plus her own kids wore her out. In 2025, after wrapping, she said it didn't feel real that it was over. She and Laurie kept saying they couldn't believe it. The finale aired April 23, 2025 as a 2-part episode. The original show started in 1988, so it was exactly 37 years. In one amazing moment, the actors looked right at the camera and cried for real. One by one, they said goodnight. John Goodman, as Dan sat alone on the couch, looked at us, paused, and softly said, "Good night." That was his idea. It was the sweetest ending for a show that lived so long. Sara's story isn't only about the show. Back in the early 90s, dating Johnny Galecki, something felt wrong. She'd kiss him and then feel sad and lost. Johnny didn't understand at first. But when Sara said she thought it was because she was gay, he totally supported her. She was terrified, scared she'd never work again. She was dating an older woman, 18 years older and famous, but everything was hidden. That fear stuck with her for years. In July 2010, while doing press for The Talk, Sara finally came out to the world. By then, she had already been with producer Ali Adler for almost 10 years. They had 2 kids, Levi Hank, born 2004, and Sawyer Jane, born 2007. At the press event, she said, "I don't think of it as coming out or being in, I just am who I am." Just a year later, in 2011, she and Ali broke up, but they stayed friends and kept raising the kids together. After that, Sara fell in love with Linda Perry from 4 Non-Blondes. They started dating late 2011. On April 8, 2013, Sara shocked everyone by saying yes to Linda's proposal, Live on the Talk. It happened at a picnic. Linda pulled out t-shirts that said, "Will you marry me one by one?" Then a ring. John Waite even popped up and sang Missing You live. Their families were hiding nearby watching. They got married March 30th, 2014 on the beach in Malibu at sunset. Their son Rhodes was born February 28th, 2015. But life got crazy fast. The 2017-2018 season, Sara was doing Roseanne, prepping the Connors, and still hosting The Talk. On April 9th, 2019, she cried on air saying she had to quit the talk show. She couldn't juggle everything. Her littlest kid was only 4 and she still hadn't done his baby book. Her last talk episode was that August. Just months later, December 27th, she filed for separation from Linda. The divorce took 5 years but stayed friendly. It was final December 2024. Even after, they're super close. In June 2025, Linda told People, "We're never not family." Sara said it's a beautiful relationship. They co-parent 9-year-old Rhodes, no one pays support, and Linda jokes Sara has to kick her out because she's over all the time. Sara kept working. In May 2019, she started a production company with Tom Werner called Sara plus Tom. Tom was the same guy who gave her the Darlene role when she was 13. Mandy Summers runs day-to-day stuff. They just want to make shows that make you laugh and cry. Sara had left The Talk a month earlier to do exactly this. She's also totally open to going back to Big Bang Theory world. In 2025, she said she'd love to play Leslie Winkle again in the new spin-off Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. She said she never wanted to leave the original show. She thinks the writers just ran out of ideas for her, but she's ready anytime. The spin-off has old friends like Barry Kripke and Bert, and Sara's excited if they call. Still, some old pain hangs around. After the 2018 Tabo I Eat mess, Sara was clear where she stood. June 3rd, 2018 on The Talk. She said it was a rough week and lots of people got hurt. Her tweet calling the comment abhorrent started a huge fight. Roseanne never got over it. She said Sara betrayed her. On a 2023 podcast, Barr said Sara broke a promise to protect her and even claimed killing off the character was meant to make her kill herself. Sara never clapped back. She just repeated she agreed with ABC. Even though 200 crew lost jobs that day. Now with the Connors over, Sara Gilbert is at a fresh start. She played Darlene for almost 40 years. It might really be goodbye this time, but her next part is just starting. She took a dramatic role on Netflix's Atypical as Professor Judd. She's still making stuff with Tom Werner, still telling stories, still showing up. She says she wants to create things that mean something, funny and touching. Whatever comes next, it's obvious she's nowhere near done, not even close.